What began as a simple traffic stop has spiraled into claims of sovereignty, counterfeit documents, and looming felony charges. Kirk Jensen insists the rules don't apply, but the judge makes it clear the courtroom is not a place for fantasy law. Now, his refusal to accept a plea could mean far more than fines. It could mean prison.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
You're Kirk Edwin Jensen?
Yep.
Yes. You got a ticket for no valid operator's license, no license in possession, and I don't think you can actually be convicted of both of those. It's either or, and no proof of insurance. Mr. Marvin said he spoke with you. You don't wish to enter a plea of guilty, which is your right, but you don't wish me to appoint an attorney. Can we just set this for a bench trial?
Or have it's either that or a jury trial, is that what you're saying?
Yes. You have a right to have well, let me ask you this. You don't want me to appoint an attorney. Do you wish to hire one?
No, I really don't even want to contract with the Crown Corporation here. This has really turned into a religious persecution issue because, and I'm sure you can see, I canceled that driver's license 13 years ago because I didn't want to have that contract any longer. And I wanted to get out of that system and be completely separate. So I went with a different government altogether, with a different issuing authority. And I have documentation in the form of an international driving permit, which Mr. Marvin acknowledged he is aware of because he said he used to have one. So he knows about them. And that's what I had when I presented it to the officer. For whatever reason, the officer thinks it's not valid or that it's fraudulent. And that is his choice to decide that. But the charge of not having any driver's license on me is not true because I did have it on me.
Do you have it with you today?
No, he has it.
Who has it?
The officer, Officer Brooks, who took it from me. I have an international driving permit and a passport that was issued by a different governing authority than the United States. And for whatever reason, they're choosing not to acknowledge it. But it already has been.
Well, that's an interesting defense. Now, we've been struggling with international driver's licenses. And for one issue, you have to be in the country legally. So we've got a number of Mexican people that have Mexican driver's license from Michoacan or Jalisco or one of the Mexican states. But if they're not here legally, it doesn't matter. You're obviously here legally. You were born a citizen. You may have.
I have changed my nationality is what I've done.
Where's your passport from?
It's issued by the government of the United States of America. It's not a blue passport. It's a different colored passport than that. Mr. Marvin says that there's no such thing as that, and that's fine if he wants to choose to do that. But I have had no issue. I have had no issue from anyone or anything using that. Granted, I have not gone out of the country with that yet. I have not had the means to do so.
Yeah, good luck.
But
you go out, good luck trying to get back in. My advice is don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be a man with no country. So don't leave the country, but you're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, I have a right to change my nationality. And the Crown Corporation here is trying to deny me that nationality, which really falls under a religious persecution issue here, because I don't want to have any more dealings with the Crown Corporation. And so
I don't know what universe you're from, but there is no Crown Corporation. This is the state of Michigan. And in the state of Michigan, you have to have a driver's license. You may have one. Your operator's license, you're right, is canceled. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
I cut it up and I sent it back to the Secretary of State 13 years ago. I did not want to have that contract any longer.
But you got convicted in Niles in 2019 of no ops. You failed to appear. They defaulted you, I guess. But yeah, they've got your old driver's license picture in here. But yeah, you don't have a bad driving record. There's no speeding, seatbelt.
I'm not a bad guy. I just want to get around differently.
You were here on May 11th.
Correct.
And you wanted the complaint dismissed. You told me that you had an license canceled and lien. So I set up for the pretrial, which is what we just did. All right. Now I got a concern that the officer has your license.
Yeah, he still has it. He doesn't, I don't know why he hasn't given it back to me yet.
Well, I want to see it. All right. So Mr. Marvin says we haven't reached a settlement. You believe you have a defense. You don't want to have an attorney. So the question becomes, we set it for a trial. And do we set it for a trial in front of the judge, or do you wish to have a jury come in and hear this?
I want to just plain have it settled, and whether it's with him and you.
Well, I don't have the authority to settle it. He does. I can set it for what's called a last pretrial before a jury trial. And I will get your international. This may be more of a legal issue than a factual issue. You were driving in the state of Michigan, and you don't have a Michigan driver's license. But you may have a valid international license. I don't know. There's no. Now the prosecutor has the police report. I don't.
The other thing that I failed to mention was that I was also under contract while I was driving that. I was under a legal contract, and obviously that contract was impaired while I was trying to fulfill the obligations of that contract.
That's alternate universe stuff. There's no contract. The issue is,
I mean the owner of the vehicle. I had a contract with the owner of the vehicle. I was under contract to perform some services for the owner of the vehicle.
Oh, okay. So, all right. That may be so.
Right. But
then you may need a CDL to do that.
Your Honor,
yes?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at that statute in like years, but doesn't an international license have to have a prerequisite of a valid license from some place before you can apply for that international license?
And I had a national one too as well.
So I don't know.
I believe that's the prerequisite, but I don't know.
All right, well, it may be, but we've got a legal issue, and I don't even. He's got a theory that may have no basis or may have some basis. We have recently had a man from India who tried to do everything right.
Right, I remember him.
And it's so cumbersome and difficult. And he was living here. He had a driver's license from India. He got an international driver's license. Or he had a New York license, and somewhere he forgot to dot an I or cross a T. All right, I'm going to set this for a last pretrial, but I need.
And what does that mean?
It means we're going to take one more effort at resolving this thing, but I need to see your evidence.
Okay. Well, I can tell you the Officer Brooks, he's the one that has it.
All right. An attorney could help you with the legal issues on this. You don't wish to have?
No, I have other representation.
All right, let's assume for the minute that your argument has got some merit, that you've got some passport and an international driver's license. That maybe that's enough, but it usually presumes that you have a valid license somewhere else. So they didn't take your passport too, did they? Took your passport and All right, I'm gonna set this for last pretrial 2 weeks from now. For June 29th. At 3 o'clock. Does that interfere with your work schedule?
No, I'm self-employed.
Okay. They charge this on the ticket. You're also alleged to have no proof of insurance, which is a civil infraction.
The insurance was there. It was not on the car the car at the time.
All right.
A simple phone call to the insurance agency will prove that it was in existence.
Well, there's two different kinds of offenses. One is not having insurance. That's a 1-year misdemeanor, carries a minimum $200 fine. The other one is not having the slip in the car.
Right.
So if you can prove that so that's what the charge is. It isn't that you didn't have an insurance, you didn't have it in the car.
Yeah.
So if you got it, bring with you your proof of insurance.
Right.
For that date.
Right.
All right, we'll try another shot at this. When you were here at your arraignment in May, you were very polite and respectful, and we don't agree on things, but let's take a closer look before I jump to any conclusions.
And I'll have a lot more evidence at that time. Yeah.
And if it can be resolved, great. If it can't be, the question at that point will be, do we have a jury trial or do we have a bench trial? And one of the things about people like you that want to check out of our government and our system, they don't mind bringing in 30 of their fellow citizens to come in and hear their thing. The irony is, if I sent you a jury notice, you wouldn't show up. You would say, I don't contract with you and I won't participate in your system. But you don't have any compunction about dragging 30 other people in here to hear your case. So at this point, we haven't gotten that far.
Can we just decide that in 2 weeks?
Yes, okay. Certainly. So let's see. I want to get those documents from the sheriff's department, take a look at them.
Okay.
There may need to be some legal research done as well. But you're putting the burden on them, which is how it sort of works.
Yeah.
They have the burden of proving it beyond a reasonable doubt. So you raise this defense and say, prove it's not right. Well, that isn't exactly how it works. You've got to show there's some merit to the defense. Key West used to offer passports to the Conch Republic. There was a little place there, and you could get a Conch Republic passport, and it looked like a real passport. And they shut them down. People were using them in other countries to show they had a Conch Republic quasi-American passport. So there's all kinds of screwy passports out there.
And I understand that there's nefarious people who want to do things for nefarious purposes, and that's not me. I don't want to do anything for nefarious or evil purposes. I'm trying to be upright and righteous here in what I'm doing. And I'm just simply wanting to be separate according to my religious beliefs. And that's all this really boils down to.
All right. Well, one option is don't drive a car. If you don't want to participate in it and you want to opt out of our system, don't drive. Have somebody else drive you or stay in one place. But if you want to use our public roadways and share the road with other people that are licensed, you can't just decide I live in an alternate universe and I don't have to obey the same rules that everybody else does. So one option is don't drive. And then you won't have to worry about it, but we'll see what we can figure out. We'll take another crack at this June 29th at 3 p.m. here, and I'll get those documents. If you have proof of insurance, bring it with you.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see what we do.
And a side note, what happened with the sovereign?
He claims that he has an international driver's license and a passport, and that Deputy Brooks seized them.
Yeah, he did, because
Well, I said, I'd like to see them.
Mhm.
And so I set him for a final pretrial on June 29th.
I was told, I haven't seen them. They're available to me, and this week, tomorrow, I'm gonna go look at them. I was told they're counterfeit.
Well, that may be so. I'd like to see them. He claims that he has an international driver's license and a passport. And we discussed whether he wanted a bench trial or a jury trial. He was leaning toward jury. And then I said, you know, that's ironic that if you got a jury summons, you wouldn't show up, but you don't have any compunction about bringing all these people in here. And he said, well, can we discuss that at the last pretrial? The no proof of insurance. He said, yeah, I didn't have it in the car. I said, well, that's what the charge is. It's not that you didn't have it in the car. So that case is a civil infraction. He's not entitled to counsel or jury. But yeah, I'd like to see those documents and have you, if you believe they're counterfeit, we can discuss
I do,
that.
but I haven't seen them with my own eyes, and I'd like to run them past somebody. And I did say that if I find out they are counterfeit, this is not going to be in this court. He's going to have a big problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Kirk Edwin Jensen?
Yes, I have documents in here that I had just filed with the clerk, and I need to submit them here.
Is that this thing called non-statutory abatement?
That's it.
All right, I got it. I provided a copy to Miss Davis. It's entitled Kirk Edwin Jensen, Reign Citizen, Reign of Heavens, a set apart place with an address. Non-statutory abatement. File number 23660ST, charges operating with no license. Charge 23661, charged with operating with no license in your possession. I don't think you can be convicted of both of those, as I said at our arraignment. And then the third count is a civil infraction, no proof of insurance, could probably be charged as no insurance, but it was charged as a civil infraction.
I have the proof of that here.
May I see it? All right, that's the person that owned the car.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Let Debbie see that. All right. We had kind of a chase our tails around at the time of the arraignment. You are, what do you wish to be, a Reign citizen?
That I have a social compact and a body politic, which gives the authority for the credentials that I had when I had given them to Mr. Brooks at the time. And
the officer that wrote the ticket.
right. You had said that you were going to try to get those from him and see them for yourself.
Yeah, I don't know whether Miss Davis got that or not.
We did get additional information from the agency in Detroit regarding passports, and they confirmed that they are fraudulent. So if this doesn't get resolved today with the plea as charged to these misdemeanors, then we will be amending to have felony charges.
All right, fair enough. People call themselves different things. The common vernacular term had become sovereign citizen.
And I do not claim that in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
I rebut that. I completely rebut that statement.
All right. Well, I tried to think of a term for it.
Well,
just a minute.
Okay.
Let me get my thoughts together here. We had a guy, Mr. Aiken, a couple of weeks ago, and we went round and round with him, and he wanted a jury trial, and he didn't show up, and then he was found in contempt, and he went to jail. And I said, well, how about willfully misinformed defendant? That's too cumbersome, or willfully ignorant defendant. And then I was laying in bed between then and now, and I thought, follow me here, Mimsy where the burrow grows. It's like, what the heck does that mean? It's from the poem Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. It was written in the 1800s. It's a nonsense poem that doesn't mean anything. And more importantly, there was a science fiction story written maybe during the war called Mimsy Were the Borogroves. It's a very interesting story about some toys that were sent from the future back to here. It's pretty relevant right now with cell phones. And the third line is Mimsy Were the Borogroves. And what is a Borogrove? It doesn't make any sense. So my term for these people that come in with this kind of nonsensical jabberwocky is going to be Borogroves. So this is Borogrove. It doesn't mean anything, and neither do your pleadings. This non-statutory abatement and all this stuff about self-claimed contracts and Exhibit B and C has no lawful effect. So the question I have here is, do you wish to have a trial on these matters, or do you wish to enter a plea to this?
So does the body politic and social compact, is that being disregarded?
Correct.
Okay, then I'll go with the trial.
All right, then I will. Do you want to have an attorney to assist you?
No.
All right. You sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. The prosecutor is going to charge you with some sort of felony charge. What charge did you have in mind, Ms. Davis?
I believe that Prosecutor Morgan looked it up, and it was fraudulent documentation, basically manufacturing fraudulent passport and a fraudulent license.
We talked about Conch Republic passports. Whatever you had, and this false passport and some claim that somehow you had an international driver's license. You have to have a driver's license from somewhere to have an international driver's license. And this isn't it.
Mm-hmm. And I had that too. I have that too, yes.
All right. Well,
one last question. The documents that were taken by Mr. Brooks, I want to make sure that those are entered in as evidence when the time comes.
do you have those, Deborah?
I do not have physical possession of them. As all evidence, it's held by the sheriff's department and the evidence lockers. So certainly we would introduce those as exhibits.
All right. Well, you're always polite enough, but you're.
I stand
This,
firm.
well, this, it's the
stand for
problem
what
with
I
this is insidiously dangerous. People decide on their own that the rules don't apply to them. And even though they're polite and respectful, you're yanking my chain, and this is a waste of our court's time and Miss Davis's time.
I intend to prove that
All
these
right.
things are correct.
All right, maybe you do, but they aren't. This stuff is meaningless. And if everybody decided like you that they don't need a driver's license, they don't participate in our social contract, and they wish to use our public roadways and our streetlights and our court system, but hey, it doesn't apply to me, things would break down. The rule of law would cease to exist. So it's polite, but it's insidious and it's dangerous. What's next? I don't have the social contact, so I can punch somebody in the nose. I can kill somebody. I can sell drugs. The rules don't apply to me because I'm a RAIN citizen. Well, it don't work that way, at least not here in Michigan or in St. Joe County. Same rules apply to you that apply to everybody else. And you're going to get charged with a felony document fraud case. So I'm going to set this for, do you want a bench trial or a jury trial?
Jury.
Yeah, the same thing. It's hypocritical. The rules don't apply to you, but you don't mind bringing in 30 of your citizens to come in and hear this.
It's going to be
stuff.
just me. It's just going to be just me.
I'm going to set for a jury trial.
Your Honor, if we amend it, obviously.
I understand. I just want a target date
Sure.
for August 16, if prosecutor amends to felony, we'll schedule a pre-exam. Mimsy, we're the Borough Groves. That's what this amounts to. 'Twas brilling on their slithy ties. It's a bunch of nonsense. And so, Mr. Borough, I will see you on August 16th at 8:30. They choose to call themselves by different titles. Henceforth, I'm going to refer to this type of defendant as a Borough Grove. Makes me happy. All right, we have Mr. Kirk Jensen here, who's unrepresented. Mr. Jensen, would you come up and have a seat? Josh, you kind of inherited this. Mr. Jensen was originally charged with traffic violations. The matter was set for a jury trial for August 16th, I believe it was. We had summoned jurors and we were ready to proceed. Earlier that week, I believe August 14th, Mr. Marvin filed a felony complaint based on the same set of facts. So the matter was set for a pre-exam conference. Mr. Jensen has made every court hearing, but he did express that he wants to represent himself. I offered to appoint counsel at each stage of the misdemeanor proceedings, and again in this case, but he declined. So, Mr. Jensen, you still wish to represent yourself in this matter?
I wish to have this case completely dismissed.
Well, everybody feels that way. Everybody else who wants their case dismissed, raise your right hand. Yeah, that was unanimous. So that's not up to me. But the question is, I'm willing to appoint counsel for you, but you've represented to me at each stage you wish to represent yourself.
I do not wish to have any counsel.
All right. Well, then let's talk about where we are. Where's the complaint? The complaint alleges that on or about April 6th in Lockport Township, that you did obstruct justice by preferring a counterfeit U.S. passport and counterfeit international driver's license at the time of a lawful traffic stop, an attempt to avoid criminal liability for driving without a license. The way that is charged, it is a felony punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $10,000. The second count is possession of a reproduced, altered, counterfeit, or forged chauffeur's license. Operator's or chauffeur's license. That's a misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. Count 3 alleges that you had no valid operator's license, plain old no ops. Are also charged with a civil infraction of no proof of insurance.
And I object to those. I object to that being labeled as counterfeit on all of those documents.
All right. Mr. O'Bear, do you have any instructions here or a plea offer? Or?
So the offer would be if the defendant wanted to plead to count 3, operating with no license, it's the 90-day misdemeanor. We would recommend fines and costs.
I object to that, and I will not consent to that either.
All right, let me unpack that a little bit. All right, you're charged with a felony, and you're charged with possession of a false or forged counterfeit license. You're also charged with no proof of insurance. The prosecutor would dismiss all of those charges if you plead to no valid operator's license with a fine and cost. You may be the first person in my 21-year career that objects to having all the felony charges dismissed for a plea to a $200 fine. Nonetheless, You object. Um,
I object to the fact that it's been labeled as counterfeit.
all right, well, they're just willing to dismiss that charge. The allegation in count 3 is that you are operating a vehicle on a public roadway without having a valid license, sometimes called no ops or no valid operator's license. It's under 257301 of the Michigan Traffic Code. It's punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100. It carries 2 points and it goes on your driving record. If you plead guilty to that charge, I'm going to fine you $225. I'm going to give you time to pay it, and the matter will be done. If you don't wish to plead to that, we're going to have a preliminary examination next Wednesday, where the prosecutor will attempt to bind you over to circuit court on felony charges and continue the matter for a felony conviction with potential prison sentence. So his offer is to just be done with all of it for a plea to no valid operators. That's, frankly, was kind of surprised by the generous offer, but that's what it is. So our options are to plead to having no valid operator's license. You can even plead no contest. You can plead no contest. You don't admit what happened, but you also don't deny what happened. You allow or accept that a conviction will enter. You and I have a fundamental disagreement about what it means to operate a vehicle or what it means to travel. But if you want this matter to be over with, you can enter a no contest plea to no valid operator's license. If you want to reap the whirlwind, we can have a preliminary examination next Tuesday afternoon regarding the matter. What would you like to do, Mr. Jensen?
I don't accept any of that.
All right, the matter will be set for prelim.
And just to make it clear, this would be the third time that a charge of no operator's license has been levied against me, and I'm standing against it because those documents are valid, and I object to them being labeled as counterfeit.
Find out next week. So that will be Tuesday, September 5th at 1 p.m. Prelim. All right, your bond is continued. You're free to go.
And just a reminder of the civil case that is ongoing, and those who are named in that, yourself and Mr. Marvin as well.
Which civil case is that?
Civil case, the notices, and all the recusals and everything that's been filed into this case that I've been filing in. Just to make note of that it is on the record.
Well, let's take a look. Oh, you filed a August 28th, which is yesterday. I got this. I didn't see it. Objection to the report and recommendation in the matter of civil case. You filed this in federal court?
This was done in a federal court, has a federal case number on it,